Education Center. You guys may remember me from being in your classroom talking about the life cycle of a pumpkin, Dr. Seuss Day, or maybe compost stew. So when I come into the classroom, I always want to talk about agriculture with you guys. And when I say agriculture, I want you guys to think about farmers and ranchers. When I say ranchers, I want you guys to think about like cowboys and cowgirls. Now, in Arizona, ranchers are considered to raise 3 different types of animals: beef cows, horses, and sheep. So, what do we get from beef cows? We get beef, which is meat. And when we think of beef, we think of steak, roast, hamburger, ribs, that type of thing. And why do you think ranchers raise horses? Well, they raise them for transportation. And when I say transportation, I mean like to go places. So they use the horses, ranchers use them to gather cows. And have you ever seen a rodeo? They ride horses for rodeos. And people also ride them just for fun, for pleasure. All right, our ranchers raise sheep as well. What do we get from sheep? We get meat, and it's called mutton. And you can think of like lamb chops when you think of meat from sheep. And we get wool from them also. Wool, we make clothes, blankets, hats. It's a really warm type of material. Now let's talk about our farmers. So our farmers, they raise animals and they raise crops. But first we're going to talk about the animals they raise. So they raise cows too, but they're not the same as beef cows. They're different. They raise dairy cows, and we get milk from dairy cows. And what can we make from milk? We can make tons of stuff, or we can just drink it. So we can make butter, yogurt, ice cream, cottage cheese, cheese. Lots of things can be made from milk. They raise chickens. What do we get from chickens? I'm sure you guys would be able to tell me this very easy. We get meat from chickens, and we get eggs. So let's talk about the types of meat. So we get chicken breast, chicken legs, hot wings. Those are our popular meat we think of when we think about chickens. Farmers raise pigs. I'm sure you guys all know that they raise pigs. And we get meat from them, and it's called pork. And when you think of pork, you think about bacon, sausage, pork chops. And they also raise goats. So goat meat is just called goat meat. But there's different types, and you can think of like goat leg or loin chops. We also get something called mohair from goats, and that's their hair. We use that to make clothes, carpet, and hats. So there's all these things that can be made and used from what farmers and ranchers raise. Now farmers, they raise a lot of other different animals too, but these are just the ones we're going to talk about today. So our farmers raise animals, but they also raise crops. And when I say crops, I want you guys to think about fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, and of course cotton. Now let's talk about fruits. What types of fruits are there? I'm sure you guys could name a bunch, but I'll name a couple, or a few. Apples, oranges, strawberries, grapes. I love them all. How about vegetables? Lettuce, onion, cucumber, squash, nuts. How about pecans, peanuts? Our grains, wheat, rice, and oats, and cotton. What can we can make things from cotton. We can make our clothes, like about all of our clothes are made from cotton. We can make blankets, sheets, and then also cottonseed oil. So if you guys have time with your teachers, maybe you guys can go over some of the animals that farmers might raise or the crops they might raise. Maybe you could tell your teacher your favorite or your least favorite fruit, vegetable, nut, grain. And maybe you guys could talk a little bit about ranchers with what you've learned today. So now that we're done talking about agriculture, we're gonna read a book on it. And it's called Right This Very Minute. And this is a really neat book, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. Before I read the book, I want to show you where I live.
So this is where we live. We live on the YOLO Ranch. It's a cattle ranch. And this is called the Barney Well Camp. That's our house. And as you can see, if we come out our front door, you can be right here at our corrals. So there's a horse. We only have one in at the moment. That's Snuff. The rest are out in the horse pasture. So one of our dogs out there, that's Kate. That is our barn.
When a mother cow can't feed her calf, we have to bottle feed it, and we call it a dogie. And this is my son Kason when he was 2 years old feeding his first calf. These are our dogs Spade, Kate, Rose, Mac, Lily, and Sweetheart, and they help us gather cows here on the ranch. Right now we have 13 chickens that lay us fresh eggs every day. And not only do they lay us eggs, but they eat the bugs around our house. So it's a really nice pest control as well.
Okay, boys and girls, so here's my garden. It's not quite finished, but it is started. And in this row right here, you can see, these are okra plants. And you see this red spot right here? That is a seed. So that's the seed I planted, and then it sprouted, and it hasn't fell off yet. Now I'm gonna have to pull one of these plants because one can grow really big and healthy. If I leave two there, they won't get very big and healthy. But that's okra. And then right here, I have eggplant. The eggplant looks like it's doing pretty good. And right here I have white onions. And I have lettuce. That's leaf lettuce. And this is more leaf lettuce. It's just a different type. And here I have spinach. And here I have, I don't know if you can see it, there's some cilantro. It's kind of hard to see. And then there's radishes, lots of radishes. And then in this row, I have tomatoes. I have a couple different types of tomatoes. So I have some big tomatoes and some little cherry tomatoes. And these are more onions. So we have lots of tomatoes and onions. Over here, I have spearmint. So you can put this in your tea to flavor it. And in these, I planted cucumbers, but they haven't came up yet. And here, these are bell peppers. They're not very big yet, but they're growing nicely. And then this is basil. These are all my hot peppers over here. So I have jalapenos. They're starting to do pretty good. And I did throw some beets in here too. I don't know if you guys like beets or not. Most kids don't. There's a ghost pepper. That's a really hot pepper. And then I have poblano peppers right here. That one is looking a little sad. And then I have Anaheim green chilies. And like I said, I'm not done planting yet, but I've got a good start. This is zucchini. And I have 6 plants here, but I'm going to have to pull probably about 3 of them just so the others can grow nice and healthy. And then this is summer squash. It's the yellow squash that kind of has a crooked neck. And they're doing good too, but I will probably have to pull them as well.
Okay, it's time to read right this very minute. A Table to Farm book about food and farming.
What's that you say? You're hungry for breakfast? Right this very minute? Then you need a farmer. You have the stories of so many right here on your table. Right this very minute, in a citrus grove, a grower tests oranges for ripeness. When the fruit is ready, the harvesting crew will pick the oranges, which will be squeezed into the juice you drink in the morning. Right this very minute, in a new field, on a wheat farm, a farmer drills furrows the perfect depth for seeds. Your pancakes were made with wheat that was grown, harvested, and then ground into flour. Right this very minute, in a sugar bush filled with maple trees, a sugar maker replaces old collection buckets with a new tubing system to carry maple sap to a storage tank. The sap will be boiled down in evaporators until it becomes thick and sweet like the maple syrup you've poured on your pancakes. What's that you say? You'd like a snack? Right this very minute? Then you need a farmer. You have the knowledge of so many right here in your hands. Right this very minute, as the sun sets on a cranberry marsh, a grower starts protecting the crop from frost. The grower will be up all night checking the sprinklers that keep the plants from freezing. Also, cranberries can be part of your trail mix. Right this very minute, on a southern farm, a peanut farmer installs soil sensors to make sure the fields aren't too wet or too dry. The sensors help the farmers decide when and how much to water these sensitive plants. What's that you say? It's time for lunch. Right this very minute? Then you need a farmer. You have the hard work of so many right here in your lunchbox. Right this very minute, a dairy farmer tends the cows. The cheese in your sandwich was made with milk from cows that must be milked at least twice every day, whether it's a weekday, a Saturday, a birthday, or a holiday. Right this very minute, farmers till and test the soil for nutrients to make sure it's healthy before planting seeds that will grow into long, crunchy carrots. Right this very minute, an apple grower works with a beekeeper to bring beehives into an orchard. Hundreds of thousands of honeybees will pollinate the pale pink blossoms, helping each tree grow many bushels of apples for you to enjoy. What's that you say? You're ready for dinner? Right this very minute? Then you need a farmer. You have the pride of so many right here on your plate. Right this very minute, a cattle rancher moves the herd to a wide pasture to graze. She cares for the cows and welcomes their calves into the world. When the calves are old enough, they will move to new pastures or feed yards before they are harvested for the beef that will be made into hamburgers. Right this very minute, a farmer plans a crop rotation schedule to keep the soil healthy and grow more of the very best vegetables, like the potato you've topped with broccoli and cheese. Right this very minute. Some farmers prepare produce for delivery to grocery stores, and others box it up to sell at local farmers markets. Before lettuce and tomatoes ever get tossed in a salad or put on top of a hamburger, they must travel from the farm to hungry customers. What's that you say? You'd like dessert right this very minute? Then you need a farmer and sometimes a whole farming family. You have the dedication of so many right here on your fork. Right this very minute, a grower checks the weather forecast in a family-owned strawberry patch while workers help hundreds of visitors pick their own strawberries. Right this very minute, a family checks their backyard coop to make sure the chickens have enough feed and fresh water. Then they collect eggs that get made into the foods like the shortcake in your bowl. What's that you say? You want to grow your own food right this very minute? Then you need to think like a farmer. You can help plant a garden right here in your community. Right this very minute, you and your friends, family, and neighbors can work together to choose which crops to grow in your gardens. In a few months, you will enjoy healthy snacks and meals made from the fruits and vegetables you harvest yourselves. Every single day of every year, farmers tend their crops, care for their animals, and work hard to feed their family and yours. Next time you eat your breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner, or dessert, remember that somewhere right this very minute, there's a farmer to thank for your delicious food. And if someday you decide to become a farmer, right that very minute, you'll be doing your part to feed the world too.
I hope you guys enjoyed this book because I did. And guess what? I left a treat for you guys with your teacher, and I also left this book for your classroom library. I hope to see you guys next year when you're all a grade older. And I want you guys to thank a farmer and a rancher next time you eat. You guys have a good day.